He offered me $10,000 in 1996.
Let's start in the beginning because I think the story is compelling. What happened 34 years ago that made you want to get into farming in the state of Minnesota?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate. I bought a chunk of hunting land to build a home on, and it was fantastic deer land. It was woods with big oak trees and little areas that could be food plots. And I didn't have any money in this nice old man. He funded it for me and financed it and let me make payments of $150.43 a month to buy a quarter of land. So my dream of seeing a big buck, it could happen, but boy, it was highly unlikely. And I had this land and I started raising a family and I found out I could raise deer. So I said, oh, that would be fun. I'll just raise deer. There's no business there. But in fact, if I start raising deer, it's just a hobby. No money could be made. So I buy a buck and a doe fawn. I actually buy a buck and three doe fawns, and I start my little operation. And time goes by, and a guy calls me up in 1996 and says, "Hey, I understand you have a big tame buck." There was an animal finder's guide. There was no internet, no nothing. And he offered me $10,000 in 1996. Remind you that I paid $20,000 for a quarter of land. And now I'm being offered $10,000 for a buck. That's equal to 80 acres of land. Are you kidding me? And I'm still working at the sheriff's office and money's tight. And so what are you going to do with this buck? Richard English traveled around with live whitetail bucks. And this buck was so tame, he thought it would work and it held its antlers late. Well, I thought if he's making money, I can make money. So I refused the sale. My father-in-law thought I was nuts. And I built up, got a buck, went to a sports show, lost my butt, never made a penny. And I kept at it. And over 25 years, I finally built a business where I could go to a sports show, earn good money with live bucks in a trailer. And so I did more sports shows probably than anybody in America. And deer farmers would come to me and say, Steve, these tame bucks will kill you. They're gonna kill you. I said, I know that. You can't put a buck in a trailer. They're gonna turn on you one day. I said, yeah, I know that. But this is what I do. And so I would take live mature bucks that were dog tame and they would kill me. And I put them in a trailer and I finally started showing them during the peak of rut. I'd put a buck in the trailer in the peak of rut and go to a sports show. And through my training methods, I could get these bucks to be 100% compliant. There was no drugs, there was nothing going on, but I understood the whitetail of a mature buck like nobody else. And I'd go to a sports show with the buck in the trailer and he'd lay there and chew his cud and just stare at me.